Good morning. Welcome to class 10. Today we'll be doing a very interesting chapter from your book First Flight. And the title of the prose piece is Two Stories About Flying. So today what we'll be doing is the very first portion of First Flight. Now this whole story, it evolves around this baby seagull. Now, what are these seagulls? Well, seagulls are birds that live near the sea and are majorly known as migratory birds as they migrate from one place to the other throughout the year. These birds they usually move in a flock. This story, His First Flight, is written by Liam O'Flaherty. Liam O'Flaherty is a major Irish novelist, a short story writer, who is ranked as one of the foremost socialist writers in the first part of the 20th century. Most of his writings is based on the common people's experience and also from their perspective. The story that we would be reading today is a short story titled His First Flight. This whole prose piece is based on this young seagull who learns how to get over his phobia guided by his parents. The story evolves around a family of seagulls, and in this family there was a young bird who was unable to fly even after several trials. The seagull, his other siblings, they were expert in flying high, and his parents tried umpteen times to teach him how to fly, but he was scared to do that and therefore stayed back on the cliff where he lived with his family. And he expected that his family would, or rather his parents would bring him food back from their flights. Now, this bird was of the impression that his wings would not support him when he would fly, and thus he would fall down in the sea below and drown. This feeling got imbibed into him to such an extent that though he was rebuked by his parents, and at times he was even threatened, he refused to fly and fetch his food. He rather preferred to die of hunger than to try. So the parents came up with a plan. They decided to let him be alone on the rock without food. Not only that, they even started to taunt him for his cowardness. His young brothers and sisters, his siblings, they would enjoy swimming. They would dive into the seawater for fish to feed themselves. And as he looked at them with hungry eyes, none of them came forward to offer him food. As time passed, the young seagull could not tolerate his hunger and the heat. He gradually started moving towards the ledge. And, he pretended that he was falling asleep. But none of his parents nor his siblings took any notice of him. His mother, when looked at him, she tried to tempt him with a piece of fish. Though he kept begging and crying, his mother did not flinch at all. Filled with hunger, the young seagull had nothing to do but dive for the food. And as he dived for the food, he began to fall from the cliff and he started screaming. In order to save himself, he started moving his wings. And gradually he realized that, he wasn't moving downwards as he has accepted. He was rather going upwards and he was flying on his own. The seagull became immensely happy and soared higher and higher. And it was really a very joyous moment for the whole family. His brothers and sisters immediately came near him and they started encouraging him. And that was the seagull's first flight that he took. Well, that is how life is. Each person has his or own hurdles of life. But what you make out of those hurdles at the end of the day is yours alone. So the choice that you make, whether to face your hurdles or to remain up high on the cliff doing nothing, would actually pave your future for you. Well, yes, we do face various hurdles in our life, but this hurdle we don't always cross alone. We always have our family members who are so very important to us, our friends, who help us to smoothen these hurdles for us so that we don't understand how bumpy our journey was. In this story, the seagull's family, though they loved him, but still for his own good, they refused to pay any heed to him, understanding that that is how their way of life is. He needs to fend for himself, he needs to learn how to fly. And it is just a matter of time when he can overcome the hurdles that life has placed in front of him. And when the seagull ultimately does so, each of his family members, they come and encourage him for the step that he took.